So our intro wasn't working just now. Mm-hmm. Welcome back. We're Resistance Chicks. It's Sunday.
Yeah.
It's our world news.
I am so excited about this
Today
episode.
is the 29th of December. We are almost to 2020. We're literally days away from a whole new decade. Thank you. I got this for Christmas.
This from Politico. At a rally like no other, Trump woos Indian American voters ahead of 2020. The president tried to appeal to the growing political force at a huge Howdy Modi event with India's popular leader. It wasn't your typical Trump campaign rally. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was just... Everybody went wild for Trump and Modi. It was hilarious. Instead of Make America Great Again hats, they wore turbans and Islamic caps. Women in traditional Indian garb danced to Bhangra drums, and tens of thousands cheering Indian Americans chanted USA and snapped photos. President Donald Trump appeared at this big giant rally who attracted 50,000 American Indians from around the nation. You have never had a better friend than President Donald Trump. Trump said, "We thank you. We love you. I want you to know my administration is fighting each day for you." And Modi and Trump there holding this rally, and we're just going to play this little tiny clip here because this is how we roll.
That's a ton of people. Oh my gosh. That's bigger than a Trump rally. That is a lot of people. Oh my gosh. I'd say he's popular. You guys, it's not coming in as clear as I would like it to, but I think you get the idea. It's a whole like sports stadium.
Okay.
Wow.
So we have Modi and Trump there.
And it's this and so just to reiterate why we're doing this show, it's a worldwide movement, guys. You can get excited if you feel like a minority where you are. You feel like you're being overwhelmed and your fight for truth is not heard. Hold on. It's coming your way. It is spreading like wildfire, and it is so exciting. We are ending this year, 2019, on fire. We are winning, and it's exciting to win. I remember when we watched Alex Jones in 2017, 2016, and it was
so on
we're
fire.
We're winning. And now he doesn't have that because he's been hit so hard, and I don't blame him.
It's hard.
But Alex... we're still winning.
Right.
You may have temporarily been knocked back in your battle. I don't say that Alex has lost. Oh my gosh, he's red pilling people by the millions
every day.
Even now.
He's got a strong, and he's holding strong. It's kind of like hold the line.
He is holding the
line, and he's gaining a few steps.
Exactly. And because we're going to shift, we're going to come off of YouTube. We're going to change platforms. Who knows what is going to happen? Okay. Right. I had a prophecy that the Lord gave me. I want to say in 2015 that people God would give us words to say, and the whole world would hear it. And it's funny because when I wrote it down, I was like literally trying to think
how would that be possible?
Way too advanced. I don't know, because I'm thinking like God projecting it to the sky. Like I had no idea how that. I wasn't thinking internet. I wasn't thinking television. I wasn't thinking anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when we started Resistance Chicks. Yeah. And we had no aspirations to get a worldwide audience.
No.
We literally were just going to make videos, and I was really just kind of thinking about America.
Yeah.
And then everybody around the world started sending us messages and supporting us. And you guys sent us, I've got in our studio, one of the reasons why we made this studio is so we can put memorabilia up from you guys from all around the world. This is a Polish hussar from Poland. I mean, we have so much stuff around here that is literally from all over the world because we are reaching the whole world, and it's not us, it's this movement.
Yeah.
God literally started this movement, and he has been, if you're watching us, you are part of it. He is pulling people from all over the world. Come to the movement, come to the movement, come to my movement, come to my movement. And he called us to this worldwide movement.
It's just like the scripture that said, hey, the king put together a wedding feast, and he invited a bunch of people, and they said they didn't want to come. So you go to the highways and the byways, and you compel them in.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. We're bringing in transgenders. There's a lot of there's a few transgenders in the conservative movement.
Right.
Really interesting there. You've got a lot of gays in this movement. You've got atheists. You've got Mormons who are now mainstream Christianity because everyone's moving to the right. It's it's kind of funny the way everybody's kind of congregating around this idea of family values, freedom, and things like that. So
hang on Facebook Live right now, because we're live on YouTube, on Periscope, on Twitter, and on Facebook. We have Elizabeth here who says, wow, first time listening, great show. Word.
Thank
you, Elizabeth. I'm glad that you're here.
All right, so if you're just joining us, you know that sometimes we attempt to do a few accents. We are in no way ever making fun of anyone unless it's the bad guys.
More or less just making fun of ourselves, attempting to do.
But this now we're moving on to let me bring up my globe here at the Inner World Special.
All around the world.
Okay, so we did China, we did India. Now we're going to, my head's in China, honey, child. We're going down over here.
Australia.
To Australia. Now, this was huge because Modi was not a surprise for a second victory. But Brexit and Trump and Scott Morrison, who we didn't know who he was, but now we do, was a huge shocker. A huge shocker. Okay?
Shocker.
So, that's I'm not saying chakra from, All right.
Yo, go.
This year, go read that.
This year belongs to the quiet Australians.
Here. The illiberal left grows louder, but ordinary people are having none of it. Okay. Good.
Australia's spotless record of transitioning power without recourse to the violence remains intact unless you count the ugly incident with the corkscrew.
That was funny.
Okay.
You don't have to read that part.
Okay, because it's really, I have to discontort my face just to do it.
Yet there is, as in Britain.
Yet here, as in Britain, there is a flourishing school of thought that democracy is failing. It is a belief that justifies resorting to extra democratic means to settle arguments, and raises the temperature of the social media debate. Happy country or hopeless country? Where one stands on this question.
Wait, stop. I'm going to
play. Happy country or hopeless country?
You'll get it when I play a video. It's helpful to hear it first and then to keep going on it. So,
it's terrible.
In Australia, they were looking for another, it's more cut and dry. Okay. In Australia, you have the left-leaning and the right-leaning people, just like in the UK and in Canada and here in the United States. So it's a little bit easier to follow. But they were in liberal tears because they did not expect Scott Morrison to win. The right-leaning, they really thought that the climate change was the way to go. We're all going to die, and let's have multiple gender bathrooms. But Australians are more sane than any of the Western countries.
They are. You know why? Go back to that map you had up, and then move your head. They all alone. They by themselves. Okay, they're not joined at the hip like the rest of us. Okay, they are able to be completely independent.
So when it comes to the gender madness and everything like that, that the left was pushing globally, there's a global push both ways, by the way. Okay, so there's the left-leaning globalist movement, and then there's the sane people. And there's a lot of sane people who are just sitting at home in Australia thinking, hey, this double gender thing, it just ain't right. I'm voting for Scott Morrison. Bam, baby. And so the left was left in tears. They called it the surprise win, the miraculous win.
It was great.
It was amazing.
It was fantastic. So we're gonna.
Station Barbies were fired up as
it's coming out of the television.
Just a second.
Okay.
What is hilarious about what we learned this year, new in Australia's election, is that they have barbecues at the. They just go in. It's like it's a party. We're going for the barbecue and have a vote. We're gonna have they call
put
them,
a shrimp on the barbie.
They call it they don't call them hot dogs.
Australia voted. Both sides had hoped for a taste of victory in what's been one of the country's closest ever elections. But defying all predictions, Prime Minister Scott Morrison clung to power with a win for his Liberal Party-led coalition.
I have always believed in miracles.
He's a Christian. He's an evangelical Christian. I love it.
I'm standing with the three biggest miracles in my life here tonight.
His children.
And his wife.
His wife. His wife.
And tonight we've been delivered another one.
Scott Morrison's victory is being hailed one of Australia's greatest political comebacks. He campaigned by himself as his party fell out over policy. Many thought Bill Shorten's Labour Party would scrape through, but the polls got it wrong and Labour lost.
It is obvious that Labour will not be able to form the next government. And so, in the national interest, a short while ago, I called Scott Morrison to congratulate him.
There was upset for the coalition when former Prime Minister Tony Abbott lost his seat.
Come on, that felt good, didn't it, Julie?
Do they really do that?
This election has been unpredictable. The climate change debate has played a part, attracting votes in urban areas, but it was a harder sell in Australia's rural mining communities. Surrounded by his party faithful, the celebrations got underway. The polls had written him off, but Scott Morrison proved them wrong. Achieving what many thought was impossible, he remains Prime Minister, one paper calling it a political miracle.
And this was just, it was like all overnight, and we're all just like, literally we're all just like, Australia! We're in Australia! There's a political miracle! Let's go cover it! It was
Well, and the interesting thing is that Australia is kind of large, and they're really underrated. Like, they're not talked about very much. They don't hit the news very often.
Right.
And so nobody was ready for this.
As he walked across the stage in a Sydney hotel with his family by his side to claim victory in an election that many said he couldn't win.
I have always believed.
Minister Malcolm Turnbull, the Conservative leader, defied many polls that had him trailing Australian opposition leader Bill Shorten for most of the 5-week campaign. Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott lost his seat in Parliament. Abbott was Prime Minister during the signing of the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement. While Scott Morrison clearly savoured the victory, he also had an eye on the job ahead.
We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do. And we're going to get back to work. We're going to get back to work for the Australians that we know go to work every day, who face those struggles and trials every day. They're looking for a fair go, and they're having a go, and they're going to get a go from our government.
With several seats in Parliament still too close to...
Okay, so we had that. Let's go back over here to our happy country or hopeless country. Where one stands on this question depends on whether one is a quiet or a noisy Australian. Terms coined by the Prime Minister Scott Morrison to describe the contemporary cultural fault line in this well-blessed nation. You can go ahead and start.
That Morrison's terminology requires no elaboration to an international audience, demonstrates how ubiquitous the divide has become in societies where open debate is allowed after 2 decades of 21st century life. In fairness, the divide has existed since history began to be recorded and so on and so on.
Yeah. So the results of the post-mortem of the Labour Party held into its defeat suggest it is not unaware of its problem, but it is clueless how to fix it in a world where the act of virtue signaling threatens workers' livelihoods and comforts. We're going to cover here what we're covering really is the woke people hijacked the left, and they decided to take the whole left down with them, leaving the rest of us to be like, bye. But they've been trying to take us down, like normal people down. Like they're trying to take everybody down. And you have these socialist policies, but that's not what's leading. The policies aren't what is leading populism. What's leading it is the idea that it's a religion.
Yeah.
We're fighting against this woke liberal, climate changey, globalist, you have to do what we say religion. It's a religion. And people are like, no. And the one thing people are using to fight against that is true religion, which is Christianity.
It's the only thing you can use.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about Australia, and before you move on, I'm thinking about New Zealand. And they've been kind of taken over by the left. The progressives, the insanes, right? The AOC types, right? The virtue signaling. And so then you kind of see Australia, which you used to want to put New Zealand and Australia kind of in the same basket. And they have come out they're like Jacob and Esau, essentially. You know, they've come out completely separate. And you see, and I kind of wonder if the reason why Australia isn't taking this stance is the same reason that Italy, who was and still is very socialist, is kind of, they're coming away from that because they've been inundated by...
There's been a constant push, just like in New Zealand or Australia, for these left liberal principles.
Well, I just meant that the migrants that are trying to flood via boat or whatever, and the people that are living there go, nah, mate, we're not gonna have that. You know, they just don't want that. Like they're waking up to it. Like, dude, this is not
normal.
Australia.
Yeah, that's another sad thing to see. There was this Christchurch attack in 2010, which was a horrible attack on a mosque by a crazy man who we weren't allowed to share or talk about his manifesto or anything. What we were allowed to know was that he was some sort of right nationalist who listened to Candace Owens. But when you read the rest of his manifesto, which is what we did, he has these crazy kind of socialist mentalities as well. And so I think that what we've seen in a lot of different shootings is that when you mix some of the you mix some of these ideologies, you can go crazy.
Yeah.
And in New Zealand, they lost. They had handed just last week 50,000 of their guns because one guy did something crazy. This is very interesting. Had the right to vote been stripped from citizens over 35, the Labour Party would have romped in Australia, and Corbyn would have won in Britain. And what is that an indication of? That's an indication of brainwashing, in effect, in the worldwide school system. Guys, we have got to start taking kids out of schools. You've got to start educating the kids because they're the ones that are, the schools are what are brainwashing kids into this, liberal mentality. Morrison's victory, apparently against the odds, gives him command of a party more united than any ever. Where does that sound like? Boris Johnson, since 2007. He is odds on to become Australia's first prime minister, or he did become. This is an older article. Morrison has used his authority to declare war on the blob, as Michael Gove famously called the expanding and apparently indestructible bureaucracy. So he was busting up the bureaucracy and into the gender craziness. And so his list and his victory is pretty awesome there. I think what I want to do is continue on the globe here because I want to hit. We only have another hour or so. We're going to go on the show here, so I want to make sure I get everywhere. So in the globe here, we're gonna go around, pretend we're in a circle, and we're going to go around here. We're going to go to Brazil before we go into Europe. Now, what happened in Brazil? We had this amazing victory in Brazil of Bolsonaro. He is a right-leaning... Listen, Brazil was incredibly corrupt. So corrupt. And, let's see. Bolsonaro came into power, and it was a blow. It was a blow to, let me see if I get a good article here, because so many articles here from Breitbart about Bolsonaro. I saw on Twitter, the Brazilians kept saying to Paul Joseph Watson, cover Brazil, cover Brazil, cover Brazil. And we're all like, what about Brazil? Here's an article. Amazon fires Bolsonaro, demands Macron withdraw insults before accepting aid. You had Bolsonaro blame Leonardo DiCaprio for the wildfires because it was like the climate people. He is like a no-nonsense guy. He came in, you know what, let's see if I can find one of his videos.
So you bring up Macron, and one of our friends is learning how to make macaroons, and then she found out that there's another cookie that's called a macaron, and every time she puts it in the chat, I think she's making, I envision little Macron cookies, like, because every time I can't help it, I'm like, there's macarons and macaroons, and then there's Macron, who is not a cookie, but may crumble like one.
They call him far right, but he's loved in Brazil. Let's see if I can find Dark Times Ahead. That's the obviously the left wing. If I could, is that Tommy Robinson?
So somebody had said, "Do we believe in the flat Earth?" And somebody had said that they're having a hard time debunking it. And I just want, there's one word that you need to know to debunk the flat Earth theory. It's called the horizon. Horizon, the arch of the horizon,
celebrating his election as the new president.
The
right-wing candidate defeated Fernando Haddad of the leftist Workers' Party with just over 55% of the vote. His victory caps one of the most polarizing elections the country has seen.
You are my witness that I will be an advocate for defending the Constitution, of democracy, of freedom. This is my promise. It's not one of a political party. It's not the word of a man. It's an oath to God.
In contrast to his declaration, the former army captain is not only a defender of Brazil's 21-year dictatorship that lasted to 1985, but a worst recession in history.
We need to start believing again, to have faith, and Bolsonaro brings that, the hope for a better future. We believe that everything will be different from now on.
Bolsonaro has pledged to boost the resource-rich economy, overhaul the country's costly pension system, and privatize state-owned companies.
That was the thing. He was getting rid of a ton of socialist policies. Okay, it's overrun by gangs.
Yeah.
Overrun by corruption. And he was going in there, no nonsense. He even wanted to, like, arm citizens. I don't know if that ever got passed, but he wanted to make it so that citizens could be armed. He is definitely Brazil's Trump.
It's so exciting.
Like, when Bolsonaro
they
won,
use it like a slur, though. They're like, he's like Trump, and the rest of us are going, wow, yay, Brazil!
Yeah.
You know, they're talking about it as if it's a slur.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're saying, but they sound very excited.
Yeah.
They're celebrating like it's like New Year.
Yeah.
I love it.
I wanted to find...
You have to know how bad it is, or how, you know, in South America, to understand what this means.
It was very interesting to see as people were... as there was one I wish I could find again, where they kind of was actually interesting about who he was and what people really liked him for.
While you're looking for that on Periscope, and I don't often get to the comments here, guys, because I have 3 different comment sections that I try to watch. We do have Aussie Nick on here, and see, now you have an Australian here, and then I feel silly about my little accent here.
Oh, but, it's great.
He says, Labour in Australia, like UK Labour, walked away from working middle class and fixated with leftist PC agendas, politically correct, easy for you to say. New Zealand is completely lost politically. Don't trust them now. Australia has cracked down on illegal immigration, but New Zealand still tries to subvert it. Australia still has a relatively bloated public sector. A lot more restructuring is still needed, but at least Aussie economy is strong. Thank you for that, Nick.
Oh, it was so much better to hear you say it like in an accent, mate. I'm just kidding. I found the video I wanted to show you. Why Brazilian women support... I think this might be the one that we were showing people.
This world-class beach is now party central for Brazil's far right. Weekly rallies here celebrate the movement's rising star and now future president, Jair Bolsonaro. If you know anything about Bolsonaro, you likely know that he's made some pretty outrageous remarks, such as calling a fellow lawmaker too ugly to rape, and supporting torture. Deport Bolsonaro. He's polarized the entire country, but women seem especially divided about him. His signature gun gesture here hints at a key reason why.
You know what? Before all this gun stuff, you used to be able to just do that.
Women
and nobody
marched against communist reforms.
Said you were like
that
pro-gun.
set the stage for a military coup. 21 years of dictatorship followed. Hundreds of dissidents were killed and thousands were tortured. Jair Bolsonaro, a former army captain, is an open admirer of the dictatorship. His only criticism, they didn't kill enough people.
Now remember, we're going from communism to the dictatorship, and I think that that's where they keep going on. They're dictator, literally going from communism to a coup from communism, and then it actually goes into a socialist government, super socialist government, and he's bringing it back to a conservative government.
Well, what's fascinating to me is that they can't understand the evolution of coming out of something like that. Like, they expect you to be a 100% communist country, and then all of a sudden you're free capital, you say everything right, you're completely 100% moral, you don't ever say or do anything differently.
But the violence in the streets is what the people wanted somebody to come in and who has a hard line to say no more. Right. We went to the street and asked the Brazilian army to take control of the country because basically it was run by gangs.
Today that's returned again because they're losing their children, because of all the crime.
Crime, and especially violent crime, is a huge problem in Brazil. Last year, nearly 64,000 people were murdered.
Look at that city.
Bolsonaro himself was stabbed in the stomach while campaigning. His popularity surged afterward. To understand how fear of crime is driving Bolsonaro's popularity, we went to meet Sarah Winter. She used to be a pro-choice activist.
Brent, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Now she's pro-life and describes herself as a cured feminist.
And that's the thing that when you hear people ripping Bolsonaro to shreds, he's not a perfect person. He's a lot like Trump, okay? But the movement behind him, he's representing Christians. And what's interesting about Brazil is that they have a huge Pentecostal Protestant movement of Christians. Okay, I know because when I was going to college, there was a lot of Brazilians there going to my Bible college. And so there's a huge move again of Christianity, of people praying, of lives that are changing. Here you have an ex-pro-choice, ex-feminist who are like, we want men to be men. Yeah. We want them to protect us. We want to stop the crime. We want our kids to be safe on the streets.
We want to not kill our babies.
Exactly.
A cured feminist.
We want Bolsonaro to be president of Brazil.
She's been mobilizing her Facebook followers to show their support for Bolsonaro.
And so after that, you've seen, this is in 2018, when you could still, I mean, even just a year ago, they were trying to, in October of 2018, she was getting the message out, and I'm sure that it's cracked down upon. We're the fascist women. We lived through a dictatorship, and I know it's not what everyone says. Us women, we would feel more secure in Bolsonaro if Bolsonaro runs the country. He protects women so much that he wants chemical castration for pedophiles and rapists.
Hot dog.
And just think about that for a second. This is what the women are saying. They're like, I want to feel safe. This guy makes me feel safe. He says, I'm going to go after, what he's saying is that crime will be extremely punished. Mm-hmm. Pedophiles and rapists, chemical castration. That's and that makes women and children feel safe.
Right.
And it makes them
and it
feminine
makes the crimes drop.
Exactly. Because it's perverted and it's evil.
Walking the streets of Rio, we hear similar views. Sofia Caputo voted for the left in the last 4 elections and now supports Bolsonaro.
I'm scared to sweep the sidewalk. I'm scared of being mugged.
Wow.
I was almost mugged once in front of my house. Women are dying, men are dying, children are dying. Stray bullets. We can't take it anymore. If dictatorship ends it, we welcome it. But it's not a dictatorship.
Now, they put that in brackets. Okay, obviously that's what she was referring to, but
they said that.
They put that word in there.
If Bolsonaro.
She just said, if it ends it.
If it ends it, right.
To justify iron-fisted policing tactics.
So anyways,
part of a federal
you had a win. And that was a win for pro-life movement, for Christians,
What do you do? Here's my question. Okay, so and this is a
how do you
question.
take back the streets when 64,000 people are dying?
Yeah,
a year. You've got to crack down.
Right. Yeah. No, that was it. That was you just answered my question. So what I'm saying is the people giving him a hard time. I'm not saying that his answer is the answer. I'm not a world leader for a reason. Okay. I don't have the answer to that. But those that are giving him a hard time, are they stepping up with a better answer?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like the punishment needs to meet the crime.
Exactly.
And it needs to be done lawfully, and he's doing it too heavy-handedly, but something drastic needs to be done. Where are the naysayers that say, listen, you're right, your fervor is right, I know you want to do this, your heart is right. That tactic is morally a little bit heavy for a humane society, but this tactic is as equally effective. Try it. No one is stepping up and saying that. All right. Love you guys, and we'll see you later this week. And if not, on New Year's Eve, probably New Year's Day, but for sure on Friday at 6 p.m. and next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Woo woo. God bless, guys. I was cold.